Eyewitness News Nightcast on your radio, WXBX Hazleton.
This is Eyewitness News, serving northeastern and central Pennsylvania, with regional news bureaus in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Williamsport, and Stroudsburg in the heart of the Poconos. And now, the Eyewitness News team.
Good evening. A light snowfall in northeastern and central Pennsylvania tonight. The storm may not be big, but it was deadly in the Poconos. Here's why. Timothy Hackenberger of Gilbert was jogging along the Efford-Gilbert Road tonight in Chestnut Hill Township when he stopped to help a driver stuck in the snow. Suddenly, a truck skidded into the car, pinning Hackenberger and killing him. Elsewhere, driving is tough in some spots tonight, like I-81 near the Moosic exit in Lackawanna County. A truck jackknifed in the southbound lane and a car became wedged underneath. Luckily, nobody was badly hurt in this one. A quick check of road conditions tonight shows driving difficult along parts of routes 6, 11, 15, 80, and 81 tonight. The best advice from State Police to you: if you're going out tonight, use caution. Now, let's get the latest on the weather right now from Vince Sweeney. Vince and AccuWeather have been tracking things all night long for us. Vince?
Victor, if the storm is not heavy consistently, it is heavy persistently. This snow will continue throughout the night and through tomorrow morning up till about the midday hours. Sometimes slow, sometimes fast, sometimes heavy, and sometimes not. Our current Radar Plus will show you that the snow is moving along in an easterly direction. The big center of the storm, or centers of the storms, there are two, considerably off to our south and southeast now, heading for the Atlantic Ocean, however, close enough to throw some snow on us. Here's what we full well expect by the time it is all over. Right now, we have about an inch on the ground. Overnight, we'll pick up an additional inch, and tomorrow morning, about an inch and a half. So you see 3.5, some higher elevations, 5 inches of snow by the time it's finished. I'll have all the details later on in this newscast. Vic?
All right, thanks a lot, Vince. It is a nasty night to travel in much of the east because of the snow and freezing rain. Earlier today, the storm swirled through the Midwest, dumping up to a foot of snow. Airports became waiting rooms, and highways were quickly abandoned. The blizzard hit Chicago shortly before the morning rush hour. It got so bad so fast that people deserted their cars on the expressways.
It's stuck up there. I gotta get some weight to put in the trunk or something.
What, you just flipped around?
Yeah, it's icy up there on the bridge. People are sliding around and everything.
This is the second major winter storm to hit the Midwest this month, dumping up to a foot of snow in parts of Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois. It slowed traffic to a crawl in many places, buried some neighborhoods, and generally made life miserable.
We're overdue for it, that's for sure. We haven't had any for the last 2 years, so here it comes.
At O'Hare Airport, several airlines canceled most of their flights, stranding thousands.
On the 30th, Wednesday, I have a 10:15 departure that I've got 3 seats left on.
Welcome to Chicago.
I'm not leaving San Diego ever again.
In Wisconsin, the blizzard made driving treacherous, and scenes like this were common. In Iowa, the problem was ice.
It's been 100% ice out here, cars sliding into ditches, accidents. We've got a waiting list of accidents to handle right now.
And there were delays at the Des Moines airport, with flights diverted from O'Hare.
They closed Chicago, which is where I was going to go through to get to Oakland.
Well, further west tonight, people are still digging out from the storm in Denver. Even a city that's used to winter had more than its share. Near blizzard conditions there buried the town today. Thousands of holiday travelers were stranded at Stapleton Airport, which closed for the first time in about 40 years. Even presidential candidate Gary Hart couldn't get his campaign off the ground today and canceled a trip to Iowa. All this talk of snow tonight has ski resort owners hoping in northeastern Pennsylvania, hoping for a big boom in business during the holidays. After all, it has been a dry December for them mainly. Today at Camelback and elsewhere in the Poconos, skiers enjoyed man-made snow, thousands of them on the slopes. At Montage, meanwhile, where the weather has been a little milder lately, they are hoping for tonight's snowfall and tomorrow's cold weather to open more slopes for them. Other news now, it has been 2 weeks since that explosion at a Pittston Township factory killed 3 workers. As the federal government continues its investigating, people in nearby DuPont are wondering what can be done to prevent another tragedy from happening. Nightcast reporter Elizabeth Robinson is back from a Borough Council meeting tonight to tell us what came of it. Elizabeth?
Vic, everybody who lives near the plant knows the force of these explosions. Even when there are no fatalities, there is property damage. And there is always the fear of living near such potential destruction. DuPont officials are determined to limit that destruction any way they can. When the explosion hit December 15th, the impact of the blast could be felt more than 10 miles away. Windows of homes and businesses were blown out. False ceilings came down. People who felt it described it as an earthquake or the grand finale of a fireworks display. While area officials mourned the death of 3 workers at the plant, they were hardly surprised by the severity of the accident. Some who've been in the area all their lives had seen tragedy strike the plant before. DuPont Council President Ed Vogue says that 13 people have died at this plant since 1951. In that year, 2 people were killed in an explosion. In 1971, 3 more people died. 1972, 5 more people. Then 2 weeks ago, 3 people lost their lives in an explosion. The company maintains it has a very good safety record in a dangerous industry. But Ed Vogue and a lot of other people disagree.
You get so many deaths. That's not a safety record. No deaths, no injuries, no explosions. That's a safety record.
Tonight, the DuPont Borough Council voted to send a letter protesting the explosion to both the company and OSHA, the federal agency investigating the accident. In addition, officials hope to band together with other municipalities and monitor safety procedures at the plant or force the plant to move to a higher elevation, away from nearby gasoline storage tanks and out of the airport's flight pattern. They say they know their options may be limited, but they are confident some changes can be made. On January 8th, DuPont officials will be meeting with Pittston Township supervisors, Avoca officials, and area legislators to discuss the problem.
I guess the question is, what are some of the options that they have?
Right. Well, Vic, one option that they are considering is they could possibly have the plant declared a public nuisance. Now, in order to do this, this is, of course, not definite. This is just a beginning of a plan. But what they could do is have this challenged in court, have the actual operation in that location challenged in court, and that is something that they're considering.
Sounds complicated.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, there's still no word on who's behind the terrorist attack in Spain that killed a U.S. sailor from the Poconos. Here's the latest, though. Spanish police say the attacker shouted "Long live Lebanon" before tossing 2 hand grenades into the USO club in Barcelona over the weekend. Today, doctors finished an autopsy on the body of 22-year-old Ronald Strong of Readers. The young petty officer died from shrapnel wounds. Arrangements have been made to take Strong's body to the U.S. Air Base outside Madrid before being shipped home. In Arkansas, 7 are dead tonight, and police are afraid there could be more. They arrested a man in connection with the shooting of 2 people, and then lawmen found 5 members of the man's family dead in his home. Now police are looking for 5 other family members who are unaccounted for. The shooting spree happened at 4 locations in Russellville, Arkansas, in the west central part of the state. So far, no motive on the killing, but police have some ideas. In Florida, the feds are still investigating the breakup of a DC-9 jetliner. The plane landed hard on the runway at Pensacola last night. Its tail dragged 7,000 feet. The fuselage cracked open, as you can see. Officials for Eastern Airlines say 3 of the 104 people on board were hurt during the evacuation. Coming up next in Eyewitness News Nightcast, Steamtown cancels all train excursions for next year, but what will it mean to others? Mark Hiller looks at beating the common cold in our Healthbeat report. And former Scranton Mayor James McNulty charged with not reporting campaign contributions. His reaction when Nightcast returns.
The biggest sale of its kind. Dice Roth's After Christmas Coat Sale. Now at Dice Roth's, downtown Hazleton and Lycoming Mall. Shop soon while selection is best.
Hi, Myron. Hi, Snowbird.
Hi, Adventure, top dog weather guy you.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
Oh, just patching up the igloo roof. And I'm supervising.
You know, that's a great idea. And it's also a great idea to watch the Snowbird Report for all the latest school closings in our area.
Yeah, and it's a very good idea to stay away from polar bear crossings.
Polar bear crossings? Whoa! Ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ooh, help, help, ooh, 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 ah.
The Snowbird Report is sponsored by Elk Mountain and by PG&W.
There's a choice of savings now available at your Pride of Pennsylvania Buick dealers. You can save up to $1,200 when you choose any Buick equipped with value option packages. You can get $1,500 cash back on any new 87 or 88 Electra Park Avenue. And you can save up to $775 on 1988 air-conditioned Centuries and LeSabres. Save on every 88 Buick in stock at your Pride of Pennsylvania Buick dealers. But hurry, some programs end January 11.
While you're asleep, decisions are being made that affect the decisions you make today. NBC News and the Wall Street Journal present Before Hours, because the business world never sleeps.
Tonight, Jim McNulty, the one-time mayor of Scranton, is denying charges he broke campaign laws and says it is just plain politics. Today, the state attorney general filed criminal charges against McNulty and his campaign treasurer, Edmund Skakiti. The two are accused of not filing reports of campaign contributions 4 years ago. McNulty says the whole thing is politically motivated.
I think says a lot about the fact that this is really in response to just some people wanting to make sure that Jim McNulty doesn't come back to the city of Scranton or to come back to politics again, and I think they have a long way to go before that happens.
If convicted, McNulty and Skakiti could get 2 years in jail and a $5,000 fine. The canceling of train rides at Steamtown next year has left some business leaders scrambling. They depend on the tourist train to deliver big money, but now they're worried about being derailed financially. Among them, the Hilton at Lackawanna Station.
If the trains don't run, in my mind, it will have a very definite effect on our business. How we will overcome that, if in fact we have to overcome that, I don't really know.
New owners officially took over the Hilton 2 weeks ago. Fry says Steamtown trade accounts for half of the hotel's guests from July through September. Steamtown reportedly owes more than $2 million to Conrail and local banks. The National Park Service is not scheduled to take over the Rail Museum until late next year. In our Healthbeat tonight, the cold season is here, and that means time lost from work and school. Just listen to this. American companies lose $5 billion a year in wages and medical bills because of the cold. In tonight's Healthbeat, Mark Hiller has some cold, hard facts about the common cold.
A cold is nothing to sneeze at. It is the most common infectious disease among humans. In fact, Americans catch 1 billion colds each year.
A common cold is an inflammation of the upper respiratory passages. Now, there are about 200 viruses that will produce a common cold.
A nationwide survey indicates that Americans have misconceptions about the common cold. Time to dispel the myths with some cold facts. Myth: 82% surveyed believe kissing spreads colds. Research proves that hand contact, not kissing, sneezing, or coughing, is most responsible for transmitting cold viruses. People contract colds by picking up the virus on their hands and then touching their nose and their eyes. Myth: 65% surveyed agree colds spread more easily than the flu. Well, the flu is more contagious than a cold. Even casual contact with the flu victim can spread the flu. Myth: 61% surveyed believe cold weather causes colds. Exposure to cold weather doesn't cause colds either. In fact, studies show that weather plays no role in spreading cold viruses. There are also misconceptions about treating a cold, but sometimes the best medicine is common sense. You should get plenty of rest, drink plenty of fluids, and eat a well-balanced diet. Now, there are over-the-counter medications that can help relieve major cold symptoms. But if you're already under medical care, or if your symptoms persist, you should see a doctor. Mark Hiller, Eyewitness News.
Next up on Nightcast, sports. Jim Miller reports live via satellite from Orlando. A preview of the Citrus Bowl game. And then Sid Michaels runs down all the high school basketball tournaments tonight. Nightcast continues after this.
Year-end blowout. Now, at your Pontiac Pace Setters, huge savings on new 88 Pontiacs. Get new lower sticker prices on Grand Am, already one of the best-selling cars in the country, now an even greater value. Or save with air conditioning at no extra charge, or $600 cash back on Pontiac 6000, Bonneville, Firebird, or Fiero. Plus, your dealer's own huge discounts save you even more. Year-end blowout. Don't miss it. See your Northeast Pennsylvania Pontiac Pace Setters now.
I do think that the show is very much a reflection of the town meeting or the street corner gathering. Here's an opportunity for the average citizen to actually say what for, and I think have some impact. No spinning wheels, no desk, no couch, just ideas. There should be more, not less of this.
Weekday mornings at 9 on WBRE TV 28.
on the next MASH.
I'm pretty nuts, but this guy could open a crazy school.
The 4077 is set upon by a whole bunch of screwballs.
Why wasn't this man sedated? He was, sir. They pumped the whole drugstore into his arms.
And one of these loonies is dangerous.
I'd appreciate some help right now.
That's one of those new guns can shoot 30 corporals a second.
Will the crazies take over on MASH?
Boy, if this doesn't take the cake.
Tuesday at 5:30 at WBRE TV 28.
It's time for sports, and we're all getting ready for the Penn State game against Clemson.
Just, what, 4 days and counting now. Everybody's hardly waiting. The Penn State Nittany Lions and the Clemson Tigers will meet for the first time ever on the football field Friday at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. Jim Miller is standing by now live in Orlando. Jim, first of all, last year, Miami and Penn State, there was some animosity between the two. How do these two feel about each other?
Well, it's a mutual admiration society here in Orlando, Florida. Sid, Joe Paterno said today the pressure is not like it was last year playing for the national championship. He has great respect for the Clemson Tiger program. Danny Ford says he doesn't know much about Penn State, but he also has, after 3 days, great respect for the players on the Penn State football program, and they look forward to the battle on Friday afternoon.
Jim, it's the first time these two teams are going to meet also ever on the football field.
Well, that's right, and you consider the fact that 8 national championships have been played in the 1980s. Penn State and Clemson have played in 4 of those games. The Lions have won 2 national championships. The Tigers have won 1. They beat Nebraska for the national championship, and this week we talked to both sides about Friday's matchup.
In the Disney World Epcot Center setting of the 1988 Citrus Bowl, 2 outstanding universities and football programs look to finish another season on a winning note. The Tigers wrapped up 1987 at 9-2. The Lions finished at 8-3.
We were picked by some people to be a very, very, very fine football team. I think we were probably a little bit away from that at this particular time. We had 8 home games. That gave everybody a lot of hope that Clemson would have an undefeated season, but it didn't work out that way.
Awfully tough. They're big. The inside, the 3 down guys are all, Perry and the other 2 guys are all big, strong kids, maybe 300 pounds each. And yet they have great speed outside, so that you know, they keep you where they want you to run, and those big guys are tough.
The Clemson Tigers and the Lions of Penn State have won a combined total of 3 national championships in the 1980s. However, when they face one another here in the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida, Friday afternoon, it will mark their first meeting in history.
There's obviously a lot of excitement connected when you're playing for all the marbles, as we were the last 2 years, and that I would not want to downplay that. But there's also a lot of pressure with that.
The pressure of playing for the national championship is off, but the pressure to win is still there nevertheless. And winning football is part of the Penn State and Clemson programs. And Sid, the worst-kept secret was confirmed today. Joe Paterno does not expect Blair Thomas to play this weekend. Gary Brown out of Williamsport will get the call.
Jim, have a good couple of days down in Florida. We'll talk to you tomorrow again at 6.
Very good.
The snow failed to put a stop to the high school basketball tournament action around here tonight. We check out some of the scores. First, the McGrane tournament. Bishop Hoban loses to Coughlin. It was Hanover area over GAR. At the Crosson tournament at Valley West, winners were Pittston area and Natticoke. Now the action from those 4 games. Game number 1, the McGrane tournament. Coughlin's Russ Mashinsky on the break. Scores that he gets fouled. The Crusaders led Bishop Hoban by 1. The Argents come back. Tom Borum takes this one-on-one scoop shot. They would regain the 1-point edge. Borum again comes up with a play for Hoban later, this time off the rebound. They opened up an early 5-point lead, but Coughlin would go on to win this one. Jim Mikolajczyk with the score. Crusaders advance to the McGrane final. In game number 2, GAR built an early 11-point lead. Bruce Szynski with the head fake, and he hits the jumper. Hanover area rallies. Todd Kolbicka drives the baseline, then he stops and scores on the reverse layup. Jeff Thomas had a big game inside tonight for the Hawkeyes. Off this lob pass, he puts it up and in for 2. The Grenadiers would answer as John Snyder beats his man to the hole, but Hanover area beat GAR. They'll play Coughlin Wednesday for the McGrane championship. At the Crosson tournament tonight, game number 1, Pittston area's Joe O'Boyle, the big guy inside for the Patriots, scores off the nice move. Lehman tries to hang in. Carl Houck hits the shot in the lane. And then later for the Black Knights, it's Len Anetta, the nice pass to Frank Kozlet for 2 more. But the Patriots had too much, a game-high 31 points for Tommy Brady, as they beat Lehman to advance to the Crosson title game. In contest number 2, Nantico scored the first 11 points of the game against Valley West, 3 on Jim McDermott's bomb from the far side. Then McDermott with the lob pass to Bob Grabowski, who puts it up and in one motion for the Trojans. The Spartans finally scored almost 4 minutes into the contest, and it was big Bob Prushinsky getting this bucket on the second effort. George Miser then went to the outside for the home run ball in tonight's second game at Valley West High School. Watch closely now. Here we go. All the scores. Dallas. Tunkhannock beat Myers. Dallas over Wyoming Seminary. At Northwest, Gieske Memorial winners were Sullivan County and Northwest area. Taylor Lions tournament, Wyoming area and Riverside, Wyoming area and Seton Catholic advanced to title games. Torona's tournament at Lakeland. The winners were Mid-Valley over Carbondale and Valley View beat Lakeland. Lina tournament, Central over O'Hara, and it was Prep over Dunmore. Honesdale JC's winners were Wallenpaupack and Honesdale. Girls Munley tournament, Valley West and Crestwood were winners. Back to boys PCN tournament, the winners were Notre Dame over Stroudsburg. East Stroudsburg beat Pleasant Valley, and Pocono Mountain over Pocono Central Catholic. College basketball, number 2 Kentucky was the winner, as was number 3 Pitt, number 6 Temple, and number 7 Syracuse. Not much time. In hockey, Jersey beat the Islanders, Washington, Toronto 4-4 tie. That's all the finals we have.
All right, thanks
See you
a lot,
tomorrow.
Sid. As you can tell, we're doing things a little different this week because Jim is down in Orlando, and now we're going to go to weather, and Vince is here. More on that storm, right?
Yeah, and again, Victor, I want to tell folks this is not a major snowstorm, okay? And enough to make things a little clumsy, but it's not a major storm. Matter of fact, enough to make things slippery. Now and in the morning, snow is the story, but even more important, the big change behind the storm. We only get brushed by the big snow, but the big cold will move right in as the snow moves out. AccuWeather is next.
Pontiac's Big Value Blowout is going on now. Save up to $910 on specially equipped Grand Ams. Special savings are also available on most other Pontiacs. And Pontiac has even made it possible for us to pass along savings of up to $775 on air-conditioned 6000s. Along with $900 savings on option packages, this could mean a total savings of up to $1,675.
Get in on Pontiac's Big Value Blowout now. See your Northeast Pennsylvania Pontiac Pace Centers.
May your holidays be a time of peace and contentment, a gathering of friends, and a sharing of joy. These are the wishes of your friends and neighbors at the Pennsylvania Gas and Water Company, the 1,000 and more dedicated people who keep your vital services working around the clock, around the year. A very special greeting from PG&W.
You can be heart healthy. Geisinger Medical Center and WBRE TV encourage you to get more information on how to decrease your chance of the nation's #1 killer, heart disease. Call this number, 1-800-322-5437 for this pamphlet. Learn the signs. Is it really a heart attack? Reduce your risk factor for heart disease. Call 1-800-322-5437 now.
Hello, my friends. It is a big storm for other folks. For us, again, we just kind of get brushed by it. Storm that caused all the problems across the country. Going to give us a little bit of snow. We'll discuss that further with you. But now, let's have a look at some airtime temperatures throughout the WBRE viewing area. Saylorsburg in the Poconos, Monroe County, 23 degrees at airtime. 44 at Luzerne County with a 26. Forest Hill in Union County with 28. Susquehanna County's Forest City at 26, and Milwaukee, Lackawanna County with a 27. Chilling down out there and still some snow falling. Let's go to the airport. Here's the story. Temperature 24 degrees. Winds are out of the northeast at 12. We've got a cold wind. That's going to tell the tale before long here. Humidity 90%, and the barometer is 29.84. It is crashing, falling at this hour. Sunrise, sunset for tomorrow, 7:29 and 4:42. And our weather window tonight is some DuPont snow here in Luzerne County, and that is from the lens of Charlie Hayes, BRE Eyewitness News photographer. First satellite shot tonight is of the entire nation. This is the storm you see in the east here, the storm that has caused all the problems, major snows as far back as Denver. It has moved into our neck of the woods, but still far enough away it is scooting off to the east. Let's get a closer look here, and I'll show you exactly what's going on. We do have two storms, all right? There are two indeed, and they are tracking due east, and then they're going to start to slide up along the coast. So parts of New England are going to look for major snowfall. For us, again, it is not a major snowfall. What's really important is the cold air that's going to come flooding in behind the storms when they leave. The wind flow right out of Canada. It is going to get cold. Now, here's where it is snowing nationally and raining in spots closer to home as we hit the radar plus for the northeastern United States. What you see here, snow of varying intensity. It sounds a little hard to take, but it's on and off, a little heavy, a little light, a mixture of all. And again, the snow is moving off, but it's not quite through yet. Here's current forecast map. 2 storms will become 1 by tomorrow. And by tomorrow, they will move out, leaving behind some windy and cold weather for Pennsylvania. And they're going to leave some snow before they're done, too. How much? Well, here's what we're talking about, folks. For almost all of the BRE viewing area, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches. Best bets in the valley cities, about 3, 3.5. Higher up in the hills, perhaps 5. A pocket of the Poconos will see 6 inches of snow possible. All righty? And for you folks back up along the northern tier, probably only 2 to 3 inches of snow. So by and large, the average will be 3 to 5. And again, I caution you, this is through midday tomorrow, okay? It's going to snow tonight and tomorrow morning likewise. Here's the AccuWeather forecast. I'll make it a little clearer if I can. For tonight, snow of varying intensity and 21 degrees will be the low overnight. It is cold. Okay, so the snow will continue on and off, heavy and light. Tomorrow, I draw your attention to the fact that that 3 to 5 inch accumulation is by about the midday hours by the time it's all over, okay? Total accumulation of 3 to 5. Once that stops, we'll see some flurries. It's going to get windy, down to 25. There's going to be some blowing and some drifting of the snow. Again, total. That's not just for tomorrow. That's tonight's, tomorrow's too. By tomorrow night, windy and bitter cold. Wind chills will be below 0. The temperature, the actual temperature itself, only at 10 degrees. And drifting snow. That is the big news, I think. Wednesday, we will continue to see blustery conditions and 19.